Welcome to DMU, everybody. Here we are at Winston's once again for our round table. My name is Eric of the Arcane table. I've been DMing and gaming for some time, and I'm glad to be surrounded here by good friends and some new faces. I'm going to pass it to my left here, and we'll go around the table. I don't know which camera to look at. They're all over the place.
All of them?
Which is what I'm doing. I'm going to pass it to my left here. We'll introduce ourselves, and we'll go from there.
All right. I'm Micah. I've been, doing Dungeons and Dragons and etc. for 4-ish years, and board games since I was like 13.
Nice.
12, 13. So, yeah, just excited to be here and chat with you guys.
Yeah, you're going to be an excellent addition to DMU. Yeah.
I'm
Bo,
Bo.
not so much.
I've been a forever DM since I was 8, so I've been playing for almost 40 years. I'm running 4 campaigns right now.
Wow.
And excited to pick some other DMs' brains, because mostly I get to deal with players.
Absolutely, yeah. No, the DMU is great, because that's just it. We can pick each other's brains, find out what works and what doesn't.
I'm Scott. I've been with DMU for a couple of years now. No, a year and a half now. I've currently got one campaign that's been running for 6 years.
Wow.
Trying to find the end of that one and look at the new one. I've been doing one-shots with DMU for a year and a half now.
Absolutely, yeah. Eric?
I'm Eric, you already know who I am. Co-founder with the other Eric of DMU here. I was told I have to speak up. I feel like I'm yelling, so hopefully I'm loud enough.
Quit yelling at us.
A little loud, a little loud.
I'm trying. Caveman Gaming. Why do you can...
Absolutely. And Grace?
Hello, I am Grace. I have been DMing for 9 years, playing D&D also for 9 years. I recently just finished an over-year-long campaign, which
Nice.
feels really good, and my players, they seemed to enjoy it, and now one of them has taken over, and I get a couple months to play while I'm writing my new one-shot, or not one-shot, my new campaign.
That's excellent. And unfortunately, Grace here, not unfortunately, but Grace is going to be moving on from the Saskatoon division of DMU.
Thank you.
That's all right. And then Grace is going to be moving on from the Saskatoon division of DMU and potentially opening up a chapter in Regina. Do you want to talk about that at all, with the big changes in your life?
Yeah, well, with work I'll be moving, and so I will be really excited to possibly just, once I'm settled in Regina, I want to peek around. I know that people have said like they've got their D&D dinners. I've seen a convention, I can't remember what it's called yet, but I've seen a couple things that they host there. So I definitely want to just contact organizers, see kind of what happens at those events, and also if there's anything we could do to try to either run games or even just advertise ourselves.
Absolutely.
There.
Yeah. No, I know. We've been semi-branching out. Eric here went to, what was it, Lloydminster? For the, what was it with Cobalt Press? Edmonton. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you betcha. Yeah, and so that was a good time. Not as busy as we hoped it would be, but still it was a good experience.
It was, yeah. Definitely thought there'd be more tables running, considering how many DMs they had. But I think more DMs filled in spots to keep tables running than they actually ran tables.
We've come across that issue as well.
Yeah.
How many DMs is appropriate at an event, which we'll actually be talking about here for Extra Life. And is a 2-hour one-shot too long, or is it not long enough?
Yeah, because they were doing 3 hours, not 2 hours at Cobalt Press. So that I've noticed was a difference, where I was even finishing early sometimes, 15 minutes early instead of going over. So 3 hours actually might be something we could consider, even if we're doing higher level kind of one-shots.
I think 3 hours is the amount of time people will sit at the table, even though you only play for 2 hours.
True.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while to get everybody on the same page. If your first 15-20 minutes of assessing your character sheet, naming your character, getting the premise of what's going on, and then you actually jump in, and at that point you're like, well, we have an hour and a half of actual playing time. I think that's probably where like the 3 hour limit is nice.
And that's a great idea. Just because we say it's 2 hours, or if we prep for 2 hours, but we advertise it for 3, just because you're done early, okay, great. We're 2 hours and 20 minutes in, which quite often when we're running our one shots, we bleed over to that 2:20, 2:30 anyway. So if we advertise it's a 3 hour one shot and we're just done early, perfect. Then you're just on your way that much sooner.
Yeah, people then everybody feels like they're ahead of schedule instead of behind for how they're planning their.
No, that's excellent. That's food for thought. We've also talked about maybe just having like you said, higher level campaigns or have higher level one shots, and just offering different options for like the veteran players. But yeah,
I see that a lot at Arcane, several players that sign up for multiple games and are trying to play as much as they can. So I think some of them might appreciate having 3 or 4 hour games rather than jumping from one 2 hour session to another 2 hour session that has nothing to do.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and I think some of that may, like if we can, like Eric and I talked about last time, is the idea of after hours events rather than at PopCon specifically, rather than stuff where you have to pick and choose between what's going on in the con. If PopCon would agree to open up their hall for us in the evenings, and then we're maybe more enjoying the con and signing people up during the daytime, and then we actually quote unquote go to work, at around 7 o'clock type of thing for 3 hours.
Absolutely, yeah. It's difficult to enjoy the con when you're on, trying to cheerlead and get those tables filled, and then just trying to run your one shot.
And I mean, the average attender, like, you have to pick. Do I go to Brandon Ruth's panel or do I play Dungeons and Dragons for 2 hours? Well, I've got a home group. I can play D&D in my home group, but Brandon Ruth is only here so many times. So
Absolutely.
if we don't have to compete with the rest of the con, I think we'd see more uptake for us.
Yeah, that's
And as noted before, there's precedence. They have after hours events now. They had
Yep.
they had the trivia whatever night on one of the nights. So
I've been to Ganbate before, and when I did their D&D and I played in their D&D, it was after hours, and it was after the convention had ended. You signed up and then you showed up to their little hall at like 7 p.m. after people had left.
yeah.
And it was like, it went to like, it was like 7 to 10, and it was like a one shot. But yeah, that definitely would be something, a good idea for sure, because I remember that working well when I played in it.
Yeah, 7 to 10. That once again, that's 3 hours. No, so like if you prep for 2.5, you have a little bit of area, a little time to bleed over. And so once again, if the doors close at 10, everybody has to be out at 10. Well, if you prep for 2 hours, that gives you a half an hour to say goodbye and get everybody out and like that.
I also saw a very unique and different way of doing stuff that would be a little hard, but I thought the idea was cool, so I wanted to like share it with you guys. But basically it was, you have your group and you get your group first, and then as a group you go to a pre-made board where you choose the adventure you'd be doing, like you'd be choosing it off the board, and then you bring it to the DM. The only issue with that would be every DM would have to be like, it'd be like pre-made one shots that every DM
Everyone would
have
have to know how to run everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. Like
Yes,
if we all write a one shot and then I have to know how to run Eric, Scott, Bose, and so on and so
but,
on.
But you still could, like, I like the visual of that,
Yeah.
because that, I think
Or
maybe
you
that's
could
the cool part.
designate,
Like a message
so like
board?
if someone
Yeah.
chooses this quest,
Like, no, a
they
job
go
board,
to
like
that
it.
DM.
Yeah, like
In Icefire
Yeah.
Peak.
yeah,
Yes.
each DM just puts
Yeah.
their one shot on the board, and then you can pick
Yeah.
the one that thematically
Yeah.
resonates with you, and that's you're picking your DM and your adventure at the same time
Yeah.
instead of.
Yeah, cool.
That's kind of a neat visual idea.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
someone
yeah.
had like, I had been talking to another DM at the D&D camping, and that was something he wanted to do, and he was like, sounds cool, huh?
I've seen a couple places kind of verge on doing that in
Mhm.
BC, places that like their business is running games in their back rooms, and so it's they have the list of the one shots you can book with your friends, and then it will pair you to the DMs that can do that. And I think it gives players that autonomy of like, I'm picking the thing that resonates with me and that it sounds exciting and that I can wrap my head around today.
Absolutely.
Hypothetically, I mean, if we don't want to invest the money in,
That was super quick.
Oh, I know. I don't know how she's the only girl in the kitchen right now, so I don't know how she's crushing it out so fast.
She's doing great.
She came in ready to go, I guess.
Yeah, right?
hypothetically, if we because I mean, again, always we've got all these great ideas, but spending money on them is sometimes difficult because we don't have it. So there would be a possible way to do that digitally with one of your spare TVs, Eric.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
And like a Fire Stick or something.
Absolutely, yeah, and like I'm getting pretty damn good with Clipchamp now. So for me to whip up something with graphics and sound and all that jazz wouldn't be an issue whatsoever.
Just throw the one shots on there, and you could have maybe some ambience music going around.
Yeah, cool.
So,
yeah. I like that idea too. And for us to drag an extra TV along wouldn't be that big of a deal.
I do it all the time.
And that's just it. Yeah, and I see how easy it is for you.
Indeed. And I'm getting my VTT TV today after this.
Oh, cool.
I just hung mine on the wall yesterday for this last week.
We just sold one yesterday. TVs, fun stuff. Oh, I was gonna say, and you have a different perspective on games and paid games and all that jazz through King at one time, right? And so like really, I think you're gonna bring something unique to DMU because like once again, you just have a different perspective. Once again, kind of like Grace, kind of behind the scenes that some of us don't have access to.
My bent is to systematize things and make them happen over and over again the same way.
Yeah.
So
Consistency.
yeah.
Perfect. Good stuff. And so everything we've been talking about pretty much aligns with number one on our agenda, the Saskatoon X recap. I've got general thoughts, right amount of DMs, which is also kind of, it's one of those things, how many people do you schedule? What can be done better in the future? And is it worth doing again?
How many games did you guys end up getting overall throughout the weekend?
Is that mine? Wonderful. Thank you very much. Let's just start at the top. We've already kind of briefly talked about the Saskatoon X recap already. Some of us were there, some of us weren't, but that's okay. You're new to the table. That's awesome. Glad you're here. General thoughts, right amount of DMs, what can be done better in the future, and is it worth doing? Go. General thoughts.
I had a blast.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I had fun. The
Cool.
game that I came in and played.
Whose game did you play at?
Yeah.
No, yours.
Mine? Oh yeah.
We
that's
were
right.
the twin
Yeah.
partners.
Oh,
That's right.
that's right.
Yeah.
You were the
Yeah. No, that was. You guys were great players. Now that I recall that. Yeah, I mean, so the elephant in the room. We were not used the way that we wanted to be used, as far as that, and that's kind of what we expected.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, from what I saw, it very much came down to, like, what's the goal of being at the X?
Yeah, and this is the first time we did it, and we know what to expect at the other cons because it's pop conny.
Yeah.
So that's our demographic, that's our audience. Something like at the X, like it's families who have never been exposed to D&D before. It's people that are there for specific reasons to go get spud nuts and leave, or to be there for Loverboy at 9 o'clock and then leave, right? But yeah.
It did drive membership to the Discord channel up gigantic. Well, not gigantically, but pretty decently.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so that's good.
Yeah. From the days I was there, and don't get me wrong, I had a blast every game I played.
Yeah.
But the one thing I noticed whenever we tried to engage someone is they were like, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. And I'm wondering if rather than doing one shots, even just running like an encounter. Like it's just, you're already at the final thing, here's the big dragon, go.
And see, that's how I kind of operate my one-shots. Granted it's 2 hours, but I don't, there's really no introduction, like where you're at the shop or you're at the tavern and you kind of, talk about characters and stuff like that, and then you have to get from point A to point B. I start people right at the castle gate. I start them, like with my one-shot I ran for the X, it starts off with an avalanche. So the group is together, we talk about, okay, we're teammates, we've been adventuring for the last 5 years together, we've broken bread, we owe each other money, we've saved each other's lives countless time, okay, everybody rolls an initiative, avalanche. And so I'm literally in it within the first 3 minutes.
Which I think is the play, but yeah, it still has to be less than 2 hours, I think, because nobody's at the X thinking, I'm going to sit somewhere for 2 hours. That's not the mindset of people that are at the X.
Yeah.
Another idea that I floated after doing a bunch of brainstorming that weekend with people that were at the X and then when I was away for a day type of thing is that whoever wants to and whoever can get their home group come in, demonstrate the game. not necessarily have you play, or have you drop in and out for 20 minutes type of thing as a guest player with the rest of your table. So barriers being, number one, you have to get your home group to agree to do that for a full day, which many of them might not be able to do. Number two, cost of entry. X has to either agree to pay for all those players to walk in that day. And we had enough passes to do that.
Yes, yeah, we did have the extra passes, you know,
Yeah.
some were being used and some weren't.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the DMs are priority number one.
Yes.
You know, but like, we had extras, you know.
But we certainly had enough to feel like
Yes.
on any given day about 5 more people if we wanted to.
Correct, and especially if the exhibition was 7 days.
Yes.
You know, like, Saturday, all
Yes.
these passes are for Scott's home group.
Right.
You know, like, pass them over. You meet your group at the entrance. You pass them over. You all walk in. Saturdays, passes are spent.
Yes. And then next day it could be Micah's group and,
Yeah.
and type of thing. And,
Yeah.
and so then we can demonstrate the game to people. Here's an extra character sheet. You want to jump in for 15, 20 minutes of play, and then you can go about and do your thing, and we can include you. And, you know, the DM's job is to make sure it includes in interesting story beats,
Yeah.
Type of thing, or in a quick, okay, suddenly goblins attack, okay, quick encounter.
Yeah,
Type of thing.
and shine the spotlight on
Yeah.
that new person.
On that new
We
person.
almost did that with a couple of the one shots because, like the one where we were the twins, we had what 2 new players there, and
Yes.
everyone else was a DM. You know, even that would work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, getting some experienced players in there to kind of help with the hand holding,
Yeah.
and that sort of thing.
I think we also do allow to have more fixed time slots that we
We
people
could,
into.
yeah, because we try to do that at other cons, but that
Mhm.
just
And
Because
what-
I was looking for you guys online and couldn't figure it. Like I was like, I want to sign up before I even go, so I know when I should be showing up. For
yeah,
this.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something we can definitely work towards. And you know, with the past, like we have our sign up sheets, and literally like that first couple hours, our sheets are full with names and phone numbers, not for this day but the next.
You're talking about popcorn.
Yeah, but for the Saskatoon X, once again, we have no clue.
Yeah.
It was the first time we've run it, and we're like, really, I was guessing we'd have 4 games running that entire 7 days.
And you can correct.
And I guess correct.
Yeah.
And even then, like I ran with 2 players, you know, and so like I was like, okay, you guys in? I had to adjust some things on the fly, and I threw them some magic items to help them along. But still, we had a blast,
Mhm.
you know. But like, you know, and the one game was just all DMs, right? And that was Bruce's table, you know.
Yeah.
So 4 games for, I guess it was, the event was 7 days, but we only were there for 5, right?
But the other thing too is like, if we're doing it in a way that encourages like pre-registration for things, are you there the whole time, or is everybody there the whole time, or are you doing like little things like 30-minute combat encounters with people that are interested or whatever,
Yeah.
and then be like, hey, do you want to sign up for a full 2-hour game on
Friday.
Friday?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and having that, like even, I think you maybe mentioned, Eric, about having just a station where people can make characters.
Yeah.
You know, and then that way, okay, you know, D&D is really cool. I never had the chance to play it. I don't have 2 hours to sit. Do you have 30 minutes? Okay, great. Can you and Eric sit down? Are you doing anything, Eric? Or, you know, that's the D&D make a character time is from 4 to 8.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
then take your character sheet home, and if you use
Yep.
it sometime, that's
That
great.
what am I thinking? The new Borderlands set, because I don't know if anyone's seen it, but the way they're not doing pre-made characters, they're doing class boards and cards. So it's almost like build your character, boom, 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 boom,
Done
boom,
quick.
done quick, and that might be a way to do it. And then here's a character sheet. Here's how you translate that.
Yeah.
This is D&D material, or
Yeah. Their new starter sets, Heroes on the Borderlands.
Okay.
Cool.
They're
Cool.
redoing Keep on the Borderlands, but like the class boards.
Kind of like a cut and paste.
Yeah. It's you basically got the tile, and then all the races and equipment are all cards.
Yeah, so like
and pop 'em down.
the top quarter is for race, and you just take elf and you
Yep.
put that in there.
Yep.
And then the bottom quarter is for class, you put that in there. And you've got like an 1/8 for gear, you put that in there, and
Yep.
treasure in there. And then you've got your little building board, and you've got, you know, and you can, well, I don't like the elf, you take the elf out, you put in the dwarf.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. But excellent. Yeah. General thoughts. Could have been organized a bit better. Scheduled better. Absolutely, 100%. But first time doing it.
Yeah,
We had no clue what we were getting ourselves into.
Also, because it is one of the events that I suspect you guys do where you're encountering the most new players,
Yes.
most likely, I think that also.
Absolutely, yeah. And like at a con, hey, have you played D&D before? Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I've been in my home game for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Great. At the Saskatoon exhibition, have you played D&D before? What? Where's the Spud Nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you just
Where were
Yeah.
the spud nuts?
gone.
Not all because Keely and I got a bag of bits.
I was about to
You're
say I
lucky.
helped.
Yeah. So general thoughts. Positive? Middle of the ground?
Middle of the ground.
5 out of 10?
I didn't think we'd drive channel traffic as well as we did, and that was super good. I mean, we've got some new people talking in our Discord channel, which is
Yep.
great. Game wise, it was.
Yeah, I think the key question is it worth doing again?
Yes.
And my general thought is yes, as long as
Yes, but.
we do it better than we
Yeah,
know where the issues are now.
Yes.
Let's make those adjustments and do that for the next one.
I was also saying, if you do start running quarterly games somewhere, it's a good funnel to get people
Yeah.
into those.
Yes.
And signed up for those types of future events.
Yeah, building an audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, building a following. Absolutely. And that's something we can do. Like if
Or if you have those events running already, they're a good pool to bring people hey, we want to see people at the X. Just drop by and join in some of these encounters because we're going to be having a lot of new players and they want to show them some familiar faces.
Absolutely, yeah. No, absolutely. Good points. Good points. Is it worth doing again? I think so. Once again, we were not knowing what to expect this first year. It was really just let's just come prepared and hope for the best rather than hope for the worst. The right amount of DMs. I think we had 4 DMs there on Saturday.
We
Sunday,
had
Monday.
more scheduled, right? Sokyo was supposed to do something and wasn't able to show.
Yeah.
3 or 4 is around the right
Yeah.
thing as long as I think we make the adjustments that we make.
Cool. Yeah. And then on the weeknights, we just usually had 2 people, right?
Yes.
One running and one kind of cheerleading.
I'm correct to say that there wasn't any surprise. We stopped as of Monday, right? And there was no presents for us there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay.
No. 5 days is a lot to get to.
Yeah.
And then once again, that's a long weekend. We could be at the lake, or we could be doing housework, or we could be doing other things, and then plus, I had to take time off of work to be there.
No, I think we had you and I were day 1, and then you and Eric for day 2, and then we had a lot of support.
Yep. Day 3, day 4, day 5.
Yeah.
And for something like that, granted, the X was their 100th year anniversary, so they had it for 7 days. Typically, the X is only 5 days, right? And so once again, I know we'll be invited back next year. I don't think that's a problem, but we'll just look over our notes and figure out what worked, what didn't, and we'll flex. Cool. But I love the idea of having half an hour encounters. I think that's a great idea.
Or make a character.
Yeah, and then make a character.
Yeah, so something very introductory for people who've never done it before and are just walking by.
And then once again, a 2-hour one shot. And then I know Eric is biting at the bit to have a longer game, right? And do something like that home group. 5+ hours, whatever it be.
And someone jumps in.
Yep, 5+ hours. And that way we have a little bit of variety. Okay? And something like this can even work well at the PopCon.
Yes.
Once again, not everybody has 2 hours to commit. But do you want to make up a quick character sheet? Or here we go, we've got the Goblin counter. It's 30 to 45 minutes.
I think the underrated thing is having 30-minute encounters with different DMs will give you an idea of whose one shots you actually might want to
That's a great
sign up
idea
for
too.
it's a tasting menu for what's to come for the longer games. to
That's
some
right.
extent.
You also can't do it all. At peak at PopCon, we can run, I think, 2 games max, and then you're tired.
Yeah. You get DM burnout.
Yeah.
And that's at 2 hours.
Yeah, that's. It sounds like, because how long is the show floor open? It's open from
7 hours.
yeah, And so if you're running 3 games, you're going to be exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to be able
You need time to reset, you know, and you need time to go to the washroom. You need time to have a bite to eat. So that's why when I schedule, I try to schedule for no more than 2 hours. And then it sounds great, you know, 2 sessions per DM per day. And once again, we're shooting for 2 hours. That doesn't always work. Sometimes you get like 3 new players who've never played before.
And they're really into it.
Yeah, and you know, like Eric, I know you're up, down, up, down, up, down, you know, coaching. And granted, that's where the cheerleader is supposed to come in, you know, but as a cheerleader, if you've got 4 games going on, you know, the cheerleader can only be at one table at one time. I see Eric with his hand up looking for assistance. You know, I can't be there or Bo can't be there because you're occupied with another table, right?
Yeah, so then if you've got, you know, if you want to run 2 one-shots per day, and then you're also trying to help the make a character thing, and then you're also trying to do the 15-minute encounter, I'm just saying that's a lot on plate.
Yeah.
You have to have good division of labor.
Yeah, but I just think it's good to have a good assortment of
Yeah.
tools that you can pull out.
And that's
too.
just it. Rather than you running 2-hour one-shots, you run your 2-hour shot in the morning, and then you run your 2 hours of make a character.
Yeah.
So you're just at your table.
Yeah.
We have the sign that says make your character, and then off you go, right?
Yeah.
And then you take the morning shift to make a character, and then you run your 2-hour during the evening, and then you take the morning, you know, and vice versa, right?
And then if you're not making a character, maybe you can
cheerleading.
do some cheerleading,
Yeah,
do some
absolutely.
coaching,
Yeah.
type of thing.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
I love the idea of having variety.
Yep.
And I think we've been talking about that for some time now. Okay, perfect.
One other thing that I'll note, and I know that this is, I think, a con like the X, probably we have to stick to the main game type of thing because that's what people know, and then branch out to other. Just my opinion. I mean, I was very happy to play Daggerheart because I learned the system better when I played it with Bruce. But I don't know that we're going to get people wanting to play Call of Cthulhu or things like that
At the Saskatoon
At the Saskatoon X. Yeah.
I would tend to agree. Like once again, you know, Avatar: Last Airbender is cool. Call of Cthulhu is cool. Fallout is cool. You know, all those other systems are very, very cool. I think for that demographic, at like an event specifically designed for those folks, something like this, where like D&D, like okay, you know, where's the Spud Nuts? I think, you know, D&D is going to be a hard sell, let alone
A system no one's ever.
exactly.
I think your 2 cells are either D&D or something more like culturally thematic and easier to get into, something that people, because you just need people to have a connection to what you're wanting to do.
Yeah.
But I think PopCon and maybe even Extra Life are the places where you branch out to.
Yep.
to
for sure.
systems.
Yeah. And once again, like Eric was your booth was excellent.
Oh yeah.
Like you had your display, you had your DM screen, you know, you were looking sharp behind the screen, there was no clutter, and you had all your display stuff out front, and that looked excellent. Like, you know, there was lots of people coming
People
up.
were drawn to his tables.
And that was a great idea. And we should do something more like that. Like the TV with the logo on it was great, you know, because, you know, advertising for us. Some banners would be nice, which we're working towards, you know, but spicing it up a little bit with that additional, you know, accessories was a great idea.
Yep. I was already thinking of that, like if we're gonna go straight D&D for the X, it's like, I just bought a big dragon mini and put that on my table next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just gonna make it more themed towards D&D.
Yeah, and they might not like Dungeons and Dragons, but they're sure gonna like dragons, right?
Yeah.
And they're gonna come in and ask questions, and that's when you hook them. You know,
Well, yeah, you throw a big, awesome mini out there, people are gonna come to it. That's it. But like, just having your mansion out there, everyone was coming by and taking a look at it. So.
Yeah, nobody was looking at the handcrafted stuff. Keely, you were gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, I walked right by you guys a couple of times when I was trying to find the tables. Like, I didn't see anything that said D&D or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so, I phoned you and then you told me where to go. But I like the idea of having things that are visual for people.
Yeah.
For people like me who don't play the game, you know, get you to stop and then you can talk to them about what you're doing. Because
Sorry for interrupting, quite love.
yeah, there was no really telling people. A lot of people I saw were just walking by because they didn't know what is going on here, what's it for.
Signage, ASAP. You know, that's something we need to bite the bullet on. You know, everybody contribute or just somebody, you know, buy it. But yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I think we're good for Saskatoon X. One-shot brainstorming. Was there somebody specifically that wanted to talk about their one-shot?
I'm trying to come up with a one-shot for the next couple of campaigns, or next couple of events and everything.
Okay.
Because it's been bouncing around in my head for a while.
Okay, so we'll take the lead.
The Bagman from Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, where you've got an entity inside the bag of holding.
Okay.
I love that idea, and what I had an idea for an adventure, and I'm working on it for a one-shot. Basically, the bag is the dungeon. So he comes out. I'm thinking you're trying to transport something that won't necessarily normally fit in the bag of holding. In the middle of the night, you wake up. He's grabbing the MacGuffin and dragging it in the bag. You guys follow him in. In my case, what I'm thinking of is the bag itself, like the embroidery on it is the map.
That's
And
kind of cool.
like almost like unfolding a die.
Yeah.
And there it is. For a one-shot, I would tend to think like each of those sides would be
North,
one
south, east,
room
west.
of the 5-room dungeon concept. No use in making it a maze or something like that. That's going to take up time. But just sort of like what works, what doesn't, ideas for traps and stuff like that.
You run a fairly big-sized dungeon. You did recently at the Saskatoon X. I see you've got a little drawing there of 5 different rooms.
Just rough idea.
Running a big map like that, is that too complex for 2 hours? Like, is there too much for the players to explore?
It certainly could be, but you just got to minimize kind of what you have in each room.
Okay.
So I made things very quick so that like this room is very simple, plain, not much interest, or whatever. We'll set one single trap, one thing of interest, on to the next one.
Cool. And yourself, Scott, once again, you had your digital map. It seemed quite extensive,
That's-
especially with that mansion.
Yeah, that's easy for me. I mean, yeah, sometimes there's a little bit of okay, well, I want you, and you guys can even give me some feedback, right? I wanted to look at this or I wanted to look at that, but I can pan around that stuff, real, pretty easy type of thing.
Yeah.
What was your guys' thoughts on how that?
I liked our outcome. I got lost in the middle as to what we were doing or what was worth exploring.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I felt like because we had that 20 minutes of trying to set the house up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't feel like I have enough information to do things.
Yeah, I should have, and I think I did that on the previous runs of it. I've made it a little bit more directed into the fact of what the bad guy was coming to do. And I think I got maybe a little bit lost in the middle there, but you're absolutely right.
Because that's one thing that I felt is like it very much felt like that was run like it would be in a campaign. And it's like, yeah, we have time. We're gonna come back next week if we don't get through it, and I'm excited to explore this because it means something.
Yeah.
But in a one shot, I was like, no, I'm here for my 2 hours of mandated fun,
No.
and I'm lost in the middle.
No, and it went 3 hours, and part of that I think is because I had my family running around, and I was.
You did have 6 players at the table, too.
And two new players, like things were slow.
I just remember in that, like, it's like, okay, we're at the mansion and we're all kind of wandering around and what's going on. I can't remember
Why?
what the exact moment was, but at some point I realized, oh,
She's coming.
this is Home Alone.
Yes.
Yeah, I had to say, I was told.
Well, that's exactly what it
I was
was.
told that's what was happening before I started playing, and it wasn't until like 5 or 10 minutes into exploring that I was like, oh right,
That's what I'm
that's
doing.
where that's what's happening right now.
No, number one, I know, looking back on it, that I was a little distracted by my kids right in the middle there, so I don't think I explained the bad guy's motivation all that well.
I
I think it was when we found all the traps.
That's what
That's
it,
what
it,
it-
Yeah, and all of a sudden I was like,
The
oh.
nails on the stairs.
Yeah. Oh, this is Home Alone.
Oh,
We need
right.
to set traps. We're gonna ambush him. But I've got an 8 intelligence. I want to tell everybody.
So you were saying?
I think just being very direct. I think there's also a lot of room in one shots to out of character tell people outside of the game, like you want metagaming to some extent in a one shot.
Yeah,
because
you're railroading the hell.
You need to get from point A to point B fast because you know that's where the fun is.
Yeah, and that's my thoughts about having a map too big. Like 5 rooms. Like I try to keep mine to an A, B, and C, and even if B is just a quick puzzle, because we've only got 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
And so if you've got a lot of space to explore, well, then you're going to have people going and checking this, and you're going to have people going and checking that. Can I do this? Can I do that? So your 2 hours is now an hour and a half, and then, okay, now I'm running behind because we've spent the last half an hour exploring on this beautiful map or all these little nooks and crannies.
Yeah, I think like a five rooms is great. You just have to you need
Well,
a clear premise for where people are going,
yeah.
when, and why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, is everyone familiar with the concept of 5-room dungeon?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's just making sure, because like that's my line of thinking, is that kind of that whole sort of setup. You can expand it, and like a room maybe becomes a suite of rooms or whatever, but that also gives, like, in my experience with a lot of one-shots, not anybody's here, thank God, but you deal with, like, the mage takes center stage because of how the combat encounters are done, or the monk has nothing to do, or the rogue has nothing to do, and then that's a bad experience for the player, and he has to feel bad, and that's not what we want in a one-shot.
We have our character classes predetermined, our character sheets predetermined, so I try to include something specifically for each character class, like a door to pick, or like something for the monk to do, or something for the barbarian to destroy. That way, like if we've got 4 of those 6 characters, I can just take out the lock, and then I don't have to worry about the lock for the rogue. Or I can take out, destroying the whatever for the barbarian, because he's not in there. So once again, I can shine the spotlight on those 4 character classes players, giving them that moment of 2-3 minutes where, okay, I did something really cool, and I was able to progress the story.
Yeah. And that's sort of what I was thinking with this, is each room, maybe the monk's got a race around it or something, but we also leave it with something so like the barbarian can hit it real hard. It opens up.
So how long do you plan on running this? Your one shot? 2 hours?
I'm looking at 2 hours.
Okay, cool.
I'm actually looking at like an hour and a half, because in my experience when I run games, I tend to run long.
Sounds
If
good.
it says, like the Adventures League stuff, if it says 2 hours, it'll take me 3.
So we've already talked about, is 2 hours the appropriate length? I like the idea of starting to schedule 3. Because in that way, if you run over a little bit late, then it's not biting into your future time. And then if we do an event for 7 hours, if we do one for 3, and you're done early, you still have like that hour plus in between to rest, to kind of recover, and then get back to your next game at 6 to 9 or whatever.
Reset up all your props.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
It also depends, like, if you're talking specifically for a PopCon, if we do get that after hours adventure.
Exactly. And once we figure that out, we'll talk to Mike. Get the details of what is and isn't possible, and then once again we'll just reschedule, or we'll flex, to meet that new after hours thing.
Yeah, because if we've got suddenly a 4-hour after event, then you can
Absolutely.
really open shit up, right?
Well, the thing is, once again, maybe we do some character building during the day, where it's
Hey,
low key.
Hold on to this.
Yeah, because you're coming again at 7 o'clock, and you're going to be
After
at Eric's table, right?
Yeah.
And we have our little messenger board. Okay, cool. This person's doing this person's doing that. Oh, seed adventure. Like your
That's
one
such a
shot
good
you
idea.
ran.
I really like that.
And you just pull it off. And then that way you can just text Eric, whatever it be for write down your name, and that way at 7 o'clock you just go when you're already in Eric's table.
Yeah, and you can do the classic like wanted posters.
Yep.
With the tabs on the bottom. And
That's
you cut
what
the
I
right
think,
amount of
yeah.
tabs, number of players you can fit at the table, and you just whoever wants to play pulls a tab, and when they're done.
Have you seen my cat?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Anyway, sounds good. So, quickly, Eric, what's one thing that works or doesn't work with your 2-hour one-shots? Scott, going to you next. What's one thing that works or doesn't work? I'll start. I get my group into the thick of it right away, because I know I'm restricted for time. So once again, I don't start with like a story and whatnot. I just simply say, okay, you're at the gate, or you're in the swamp, and then here's the encounter. So I try to get things going quick. And then while we're going, we can talk about our characters a little bit. You want to role play, you're a barbarian, great, perfect, but I'm progressing the story while doing it. I find if, in the beginning, I would spend time, having everybody introduce themselves, but then my 2-hour one-shot was now becoming 3+ hours. So I just cut the fat. I realized that intro is important, but it's not that important. And then I just get right into the encounter. Like, who doesn't like rolling dice right away?
Yeah.
For me, it was putting on the horse blinders. I didn't have this problem at PopCon, and Lord knows, especially on Sunday, when I had more of a reason, given what was going on in the background with the the possible one shot, I had more of a reason to be distracted. But I was eerily focused at PopCon. But yeah, no. I mean, now hearing some of that feedback, I know that it went overtime. I went like 3 hours, I think, for my game.
It was almost 3, yeah. It's just short of 3, I think.
Yeah, I was super unfocused, and I was being distracted by everything walking by.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that comes up to the table too. Like with my one shot that I run only 2 guys with, we were having fun. Like I said, and so like, hey, do you guys want to go a little longer? I asked about like that hour and a half period. Like we can wrap it up. It's like, yeah, no. So I just threw in that middle encounter. Eric, one thing that works or doesn't work?
I'm not really sure what to say, because every one shot I've ran at every convention has been pretty much on time.
Cool.
One time I went 2 hours and 20 minutes, and that's the longest I've ever gone over. I feel like I'm just really good at saying,
let's move.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Cool, awesome.
We keep moving, we keep track of time. One thing that doesn't work is when you plan to have a physical puzzle in your one shot and then you forget it at home.
That would be a downer.
So yeah, bring your stuff.
Yeah,
and that happens. We forget things. Books or dice or whatever it be. I have a little checklist of everything I try to bring to the con, especially like for DMU, for all the extra dice and character sheets, and then also for what I'm running. But still, even with that checklist, I still forget crap. Yeah, we're human.
overall story of my one shot, what did you guys think? Fun.
Very fun.
Yes, loved the story.
Yeah, I love the idea of the Home Alone.
Yeah, like the first third when we were at school was like, I had so much fun just being able to run around and do random stuff. And then it was the middle where it kind of bogged down in the transition to
from there to the Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that said, one thing I absolutely loved is like the dichotomy between your standard D&D adventure where you get the magic items at the end of it, and you giving us the magic items in the middle so we can use them.
Yeah.
I love that. That is fantastic. I'm going to steal that.
Cool, absolutely. And that's just it. Why have a big MacGuffin at the end? Because they're not going to be able to use it, right?
Exactly.
Give it to them at the beginning, so then they have that powerful artifact or whatever it be, the healing potions, so they can actually put them to use.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Was that helpful?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I just want to note, I really want to riff on your idea of the bag of holding. Has anyone been watching Peacekeeper?
Season 2 just came out, right?
Yeah.
No, but I'm aware it's like excellent on Rotten Tomatoes, like 100% rotten.
Am I ruining a small plot point for anyone that plans to watch it?
I spoil stuff for myself all the
I can
time.
put spoiler alerts all over the video, so.
Okay, so in the first season, he's got that closet that opens into an interdimensional space, much like a bag of holding kind of is an extra dimensional space, right?
John Cena in the closet?
Right.
I know.
But in season 2, you find out that he shares that interdimensional space with other people that also have closets, not infinitely, but I think he said something like 100. And then he can go to another Peacemaker's reality, and I think that might be a cool thing to riff on a bag of holding. So if you don't do that, I'm going to do that, right? Because then you could go and fight your other self.
Well, I'm doing something similar because like the whole bag of holding thing, I've incorporated it into one of my long-term campaigns, and like they've got a bag of holding that they can go into, and there's like a dungeon in there. And what I haven't told them that they haven't realized yet, that we won't advertise this to these guys, but what they don't know is like there are 20 linked bags of holding that anytime anybody reaches in, they're grabbing that stuff.
They could grab other stuff.
Yeah.
But what if it led to other places that you
Exactly.
you could go find your own version of yourself, and then he's a jerk or a bad guy.
And I just like
little
the
much
idea
for a one shot.
Yeah,
no, but
but what you can do. But that's one of the things is every party has a bag of holding.
Yes, if not several.
So it's something anybody can use, and you can throw it into a campaign. You can make it into a one shot.
And you randomly come across a bag of holding or a bag. You put your hand in, and you pull it out, and you pull it yourself.
Yeah.
Like what's going on?
Or your next big quest line is bag of holdings everywhere have gone haywire.
Yeah,
And
cool.
they're all connected now, type of thing. That's a neat idea.
Yeah.
The reusable bag. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on. Extra Life Game Day. I've got down general information. We've done it in the past. Who's interested? How many DMs do we need? Volunteering, the 24-hour D&D Marathon Challenge, and fundraising. General info. It's this year, November 1st, 2nd.
So 2 days.
2 days, yeah. 12 hours, 9 to 9, and then 9 to 9.
Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 9.
Yeah. Halloween is the 31st. So
It's the day after Halloween.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know that's going to be awkward for some people because of families and stuff like that. But we have access to the building on the 31st at Sutherland Hall. So I plan on taking the day off and going setting up all my rigging for the 24-hour challenge. I'm also going to be helping just setting up the event in general. Yeah, there's that.
We're all still doing okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you. And then, is there any other questions? Sutherland Hall, it's going to be a bigger and probably a little better venue than the Cosmo Center.
Do you know if they are inviting other people to DM besides us?
From what I understand, they've kind of left it in my hands, as to who is and isn't.
Okay.
But I know Bruce will be there. I know he's a member of DMU,
Yeah.
but I know he plans on representing Paisley Games.
And not DM.
Paisley was
Yeah, exactly. My apologies. And then, but that's fine.
Yeah,
we all have our own thing. He's part of the group. And he brings a lot of cool stuff to the group. If he wants to represent, his brand, absolutely. And then he'll be running, the other cool stuff. He's done that before in the past at the other events. Why would that be any different? But from what I understand, it's just going to be us DMU representing, and which is one of the questions is how many DMs do we need? In the past, we've had 3.
So there was me, one other guy, and then Bruce, and then your game is not open to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so there were 3 DMs there. The other, I think Bruce ran 2 or 3 times. Me and I ran twice. The other guy only ran once.
So how many DMs do we need?
Well, it's a question on whether they've figured out a way to up their attendance, because you've told me it's been well attended in the past.
Yeah.
Last year it wasn't.
No, I think last year the committee dropped the ball on advertising. That's not the issue this year. We've got a huge promotional package with some of the radio stations. It's an amazing deal that we received, and so there's going to be radio, there's going to be print, all throughout the 2 or 3 weeks leading up to it. So I don't think that's going to be an issue.
So my opinion is no more than 2 or 3 and 1 cheerleader. That's my opinion.
Okay, Eric, your thoughts? How many would
I mean, I haven't done this event in the past, so I'm not.
Okay, cool.
I don't trust your.
Well, you're definitely more than welcome to do this here, absolutely. So I would think probably that two DMs running and then a cheerleader. And if there's enough demand, the cheerleader can pick up a game,
yeah.
right? And then with myself doing the 24-hour, I'm locked.
Eric will be a non-entity for us, other than hey, how's it going during your breaks?
Exactly, yeah. So somebody else will maybe have to cheerlead or just kind of take charge of scheduling, making sure things are on the go. But we did find in the past, so I can't see anything different this year. Okay, yep, 2 to 3. I think that's the number. Cheerlead. What we've done before in the past, just simply 2-hour one-shots. Once again, if we want to do some character building or some encounters, I love the idea of just doing half-hour encounters.
Mm-hmm.
Even you can just a family of 4 sit down, simple character sheets, in you go, get those goblins, have a lot of fun. Great, you sign up at 4 o'clock, for whoever's table.
Yeah. It's good, and it's also a good intermediary.
Yeah.
The game's happening.
So the question is, who wants to be one of those 2 or 3?
Oh, I'm down.
I'd be down to do stuff.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. How about no? I'm supposedly the Disney guy at this event.
Absolutely. We've seen your house.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I could have something kind of in my back pocket.
Yeah.
The same.
So once again, tailor your one shots, to the audience. You don't want something full of blood and guts and gore and the 9 hells of the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
Something a little more fey, something a little more colorful is probably a better fit for this event. Coming up on November. And once again, there's no reason why, if somebody else wanted to step up and do a little more cutesy game, absolutely.
Yeah.
You played my game last year. Now we could play the My Little Ponies adventure, right? And then you're all playing centaurs, adjusted.
And then I can cheerlead, and then I can run and grab you and your guys' water if you need it. Or
Cool,
something
wonderful,
like that.
excellent. Sounds good.
Given the time frames, like 12-hour days, would we, like, I think we brought this up before with when we were talking in general, but like people who want to sign up for multiple games rather than playing the same one shot over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mix it up. Go ahead.
yeah, what I'm thinking is some of the Adventurers League. I can speak English.
Nice.
Like it'll all be 2-hour one shots, but they'll have like 3 or 4 that are linked in a row.
Mix it up.
So
Yeah, mix it up.
That way, if someone's like, "Oh, I'm coming to this, I want to play D&D the entire time."
I think we've talked about that before in the past about having like joint. You start with Eric, and then you move on to Scott, and then you finish with Eric, and it's a story. Done by DM'd by 3 different DMs.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if nobody showed up to Eric's, and then Scott is running, they're missing the beginning part of it.
Yeah.
But once again, like if you want to run 1 2-hour shot on Saturday and then something totally different on Sunday, have at it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and once again, this group is tight. Like I said, I have 100% confidence everyone at the table. Run what you want.
Yep.
You got the audience. This isn't your first rodeo. Once again, just make sure it's age appropriate. Come with 2 different things. Something that's a little more, you, and maybe something that's a little more cutesy.
Yeah,
if you want.
From my experience, there were a lot of kids there that I was playing with. There are more than a couple of adults that were willing to, not willing, but were okay with my one shot was a Disney related. Everyone was Disney princesses and Gaston.
But
would be a jerk.
the character sheets were
Oh, it was super fun.
Yeah, the character sheets were tailor made.
Yes.
You had your Disney hat on, and everything looked great.
It was a little bit of trouble figuring out which Disney princess would be what, but that was fun.
But still, that's what made it exciting.
And once again, kudos to Eric whenever he makes our pre-made character sheets, because making a one-shot, you can do that in a weekend, but making character sheets, that was a week every day after work, after putting the kids to bed, like 3-hour, 5 days in a row event for me.
Yeah, and to make them so they're easy enough that a noob can understand.
Right, because you
but
have to
have
include
everything that a vet says, well,
That's
you're
right.
not missing this, you're not missing
You're
that.
saying to them.
Yeah. Fundraising. Did we want to do any fundraising in regards to Extra Life?
So I'll tell you guys what Bruce and I did is we had and I stole a little bit of this from Eric because Eric was doing it on Twitch and then in person, is that you can put up a menu basically of kind of some pay to win ideas. We didn't have any spectators, so having a spectators pay to make things more difficult, I don't see that happening. But the players could pay, put in a loony and
For advantage.
an advantage on a roll or an extra potion. I had my cryptex there, so everyone had to put in a toonie, and then I gave them the riddle, and then they got magic items, much like you guys did it in my one shot. And I managed to raise about one game like $25, one game $50.
Cool.
And just threw it into the Extra Life kitty. So
Perfect. I can post our donation sheet from last year. We're in the process of revising it, so you can kind of see our, how the menu looks. We actually made it look like a menu. So like there's the children's menu, which is like for the DM. And then there's like the dinner for 2. Then dinner for 3, dinner for 4. If you wanted to donate to the 2 or 3, 4 players at once. And then like there's the appies, for like making your character sheets. You can buy extra stats and stuff like that. That might be a little elaborate for the one shots.
Yeah, I think we'd have to pare it down, but we can make it consistent enough that it works for everybody.
For every
one
table,
shots,
yeah.
Yeah, and then you just put it at the table. Who wants a healing potion? That's $5.
I made a pared down one that's not his that I think made more sense for the one shots.
Yeah.
That I can shoot to you guys.
Cool.
There you had some unknown. I was paying $5 a rename on the boat.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm terrible with names, and so I had to get everybody's names, and all of a sudden, okay, you're changing this name to this. So I fumbled with that for the next 3 hours.
Every couple of hours, I'd rename because your boat was kind of the central.
That was how people got from point A to point B.
So Bodie McBoatface.
Now it's just the boat.
Or Bodie McBoatface. Yeah.
Adam texted me to get me to send him an immovable rod.
Yeah.
And won the game using it, and I didn't know what it was. I'm just a layman.
Yeah.
I sent it over, and
Yeah. Quick, donate me like really good move around. It's like $50. I'll pay you back. Magic item. And so he just got it. I was like, here it is. I got it. And then he used it and was like, damn it, Adam. Damn it, Adam. Fortunately, it was a PvP at the end that the group didn't know about. So the last 2.5 hours was literally the 5 characters. They were all built up because every encounter they level. So they started 3 and we ended on level 15. You know, and so at the end, it was just, okay, 2.5 hours, the big twist was revealed, oh my god, and then it was the final battle, and it was a PvP between them. So I just sat back and just kind of, you know, kind of ruled a little
Refereed.
bit. Exactly, and then they had at it. But of course, they had 20 minutes to rest and, you know, to go use the washroom and have a bite before, like, the big battle. And of course, like, you can take donations, you know, through any time. And so Adam just texted Keeley and said, yeah, damn it, Adam.
How much money did you raise, Eric? It's pretty freaking cool. So
How much was it again? I don't recall. The first year
$2
was
grand.
like, the first year was $900. That was American, and the second year was like $13.80. I think it was just under 14 American. Yeah, and so, you know, you do the math. It's like we're very, you know, it was a lot of money. We're very proud of it. Yeah, and we were getting like donations from, you know, from Twitch, from people that we like just anonymous. So like we just thanked them. We'd stop the game and thank them. But like a $250 donation from who knows who. So, but still, yeah, this year, you know, bigger and better.
and about $25 in boat renames.
Yes, and both renames. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. Looking forward to doing it again this year. But fundraising, yeah, we can talk about that. I'm advertising the Extra Life on the channel right now, you know, and so, but I can easily put that on, you know, once we get things a little more settled with what we're doing for the Extra Life with DMU. I can start advertising that on as well, you know. So here's Bo's game. He's going to be here on Saturday from blah blah blah. You know, if you like what you see, you know, throw your Witcher a coin.
And it'd be nice because, like I said, I threw about $75 in the kitty. It'd be nice for it to be attenuated to us rather than
100%, as it should be.
Yeah.
As it should be. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that'd be nice.
Cool. Anything else? General information, what we've done before in the past, who's interested, it sounds like we're all interested, volunteering, and who's interested kind of goes hand in hand, the 24-hour marathon, which is coming along very well, and then fundraising. Anybody else? Extra Life? Anything to add?
Just so you know how the day looks, I had a fair amount of downtime, so you get to do some other things, and you can run around to grab lunch too. So you're not gonna like be there 24 or 12 hours working the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
Unfortunately, I am. You know,
Yes.
like I'll be there like from 9 to 9 and then 9 to 9 the next day. So like I said, my attention is 100% on that. Other than bathroom breaks and having a bite to eat, you know, I'll have scheduled times. We're doing blocks of 3 hours with 20 minutes to half an hour kind of in between for resting. But yeah, my attention is 100% on that. I just can't be drawn away from it.
for sure.
Cool. Next, number 4, balancing magic in your game. General thoughts, and then I wrote down magic items. I feel magic items can really unbalance things. General thoughts, how do we balance magic in our games?
Have good players that are willing to let mine, because I just love throwing stuff out there. I recently threw out when you say a movable rod, I threw out an arrow that had a shard of a movable rod in there, not knowing how it would be used or why, where, why. And just, you know, in my opinion, having a good table that says, you know what, guys, I'm going to throw this out there. Could be fun, could be really, really broken. You guys know if it turns into a really, really broken scenario, that we retcon a few things. They're like, yeah, guys, that's
Cool.
fine.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree 100%. Having players that realize, hey, this is broken, definitely helps. One thing I had to get used to was I was so used to like 2nd and 3rd edition where you just pile magic items on people, and in 5th edition,
That's not the play.
no.
Another point that I'll say about piling stuff is that you can deal with that situation by providing maybe another mechanic that uses magic items as a currency or eats it up type of thing to provide other effects type of thing. I've done that.
In 5th edition, isn't there like 3 items that you can only
Two,
attune to?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so that's a way of kind of, you know, Is it 2 or 3?
It's 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
For attunement.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Unless you're like an artificer or something.
Artificer can do 5. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which kind of ones get that kind of maintains or kind of some level of control on how much
you
magic
get
one can have.
you get items, but you flex
Yeah.
which ones you want to use given time.
Yeah, with magic items, I'm so cautious about handing them out. Absolutely. In a one shot, not a problem because it's a throwaway game. But a long term campaign, like I'm always so cautious about giving that stuff out. And my thoughts is like, why do the party just get magic items? If you're going up against baddies, they should have magic items as well. And so like if you're slaying all the baddies, how many +1 swords do you need? And so then you've got all these +1 swords. What do? You go to town, you sell the +1 swords. Well, if you've got 10 +1 swords on you, and then like the merchant is going to have how many +1 swords, behind the counter, right? And so then you've kind of demoralized, you've taken the value away of magic because it's just everybody has it, And so that's and I feel 5th edition is already player bias, on how powerful the players can get. And so, like, I'm always cautious about handing out magic items.
Particularly anything that increases armor class.
Yeah, yeah,
That breaks real quick.
yeah. Like when you're level 3 and you've already got a +20 AC, and the baddies are hitting at +1 or +2, there's no getting through that armor.
Yep.
I found the last 2 campaigns that I've run, I've built a leveled magic item in preparation for each player that they can discover. So that eventually everybody will have theirs and they'll all get powerful, but then I'm not giving them out all the time. It's like, all right, this bad guy's going to drop the ones for the druid.
Yeah. Yeah. I also have something in my world called wisp stones, and like they're like the arcane energy contained in like gems. And so I don't hand out a lot of magical items, but I do hand out mastercraft. And then what you can do is you can take those wisp stones and put them into your weapons. And so that's how you get those abilities. But the thing is, those wisp stones have charges, and so you can use your +1, or your whatever it be, but after so many uses or so many hits, this wisp stone has been, like, the battery's empty. And so you have to go recharge it, and so of course there's a dollar amount or quest, kind of given to that. And so you've kind of added side quests, like, why is this weapon important? Well, we need to charge it to fight the bad guy. Or like, we have all this money, because money's always an issue, right? Like, everybody has too much money. You're walking around with 10,000 gold, and then a farmer makes like a gold a week, So what do you do with this gold? Well, you spend it on your wisp stones to charge them so you have the old weapons again. And I find that's a good workaround for myself, or the way I play. Cool. Eric, any thoughts on magic, balancing, weapons, all that jazz?
Yeah, I think every single campaign I've ever ran, it's been different every single time. Really depends on the setting.
Yeah.
When I've had parties working alongside giants who've been around forever and have hordes of items, they're going to share them.
Yeah.
In Avernus, we collect the Sword of Zariel to defeat her.
Yeah.
Where in my campaign right now, Prince of the Apocalypse, you're in a rural area with a bunch of poor farmers, so there's very limited magic items for them to find. So yeah, I don't have any balance. I just play in my setting.
And that's absolutely fair. Like, you go to a hamlet or a village, they're not going to have any magic there. Or like, some kind of wizard who knows how to infuse magic into things. Like, why would he be there when he can be in the capital making fat stacks and studying, right?
Yeah.
Unless of course it's a story plot or a plot. And so like when you're passing through, to me it doesn't make sense. Well, I've got 10 magic swords. I'm gonna go sell them at Smallsville. Well, the local blacksmith isn't gonna have 100,000 gold to buy these magic swords, right? Yeah. Cool. Number 5. When play styles don't mesh. And I wrote down DM versus players, DM versus an individual, and then players versus player. So I guess play styles don't mesh. Has there been a time where you as a DM have kind of bumped heads with a player, and how you dealt with that?
I'll jump in on this one because I think this was my topic anyway. Was it so much me against player? It's like the kids group I was in for the longest time. It was like, hey, we're gonna play Tuesday, 1 week, Wednesday, 1 week. Whoever shows up, shows up. and it kept being big groups. That wasn't the primary issue, though. The primary issue was I would have, I would say 50% of the group, let's call them Chaos Goblins. They aren't really interested in the plot or following a story. They just want to cause as much chaos as they possibly can.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Exactly.
I know that kid.
And some people want to set the world on fire. And then the other half, like, were interested, like, you throw a little plot hook in front of them and they immediately bite onto it and they want to go. Those two groups were at each other's throats.
Yeah.
And
So how did you deal with it?
in this case, I went, these players like this, these players like this. So I made a hard cut between them and told them, look, if you want to play this style, we do that on Tuesdays. If you want to play this style, we do this on Wednesdays. And literally split them up, pick one group, and you're staying with that group.
Good answer.
And it has worked so much better.
Good answer. One more person, DM versus player. Anybody want to share a story?
I've never had like someone so DM it where I'd call it a versus.
Okay. At Dragon's Den, in the early days, running one shots. You you go there. It's to the public. You never know who you're going to get. That's where the LPI, one of my groups started from, just from strangers coming, and we became friends, right? So that became like a 3-year-long campaign. At the beginning, once again, you have no clue who you're gaming with, and so there was one individual there who would not stop dropping the C word. And this is in a public space, with like 10-year-old children next to him.
And not British?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. And not funny C word, but like hard C. And it's like, okay, I had to take that person aside and say, hey, look, you have to know your audience. Like, look to the left of you and look to the right of you. And you're saying this kind of language. Well, that's what my character would say. Yeah, I get that. Not at this game. Not at this game. If you're at your home and in your private setting, have at it. But when you're here, you have to be mindful of who you're playing with. Okay, not a problem, my bad. We sat back down. 2 minutes later, C, a couple Fs. You know what? I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. And it's a hard call. Not everybody can do it. And it was awkward. For the last half hour. Because I've had to. I didn't want to embarrass anybody. But I did take him aside privately and say, hey, this is what's going on. And there was no flex on his end. And you know what? I have to see you off.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, but that's what you gotta do. The closest I've come to it, I would say, is in the kids group when they first got going, because 11 and 12-year-old kids like to push buttons.
Yeah.
But like we had one adventure where everyone got down, there was one player left, and for his action he decided to grab everyone's potions of healing and throw them in a pillar and take off with all their stuff. And of course everyone got real upset.
Yep. And
he couldn't understand it because it's what my player would do.
Yeah.
It's what my character would do. And I literally had to take him aside and like, hey, like, we're all trying to have fun here. There's an expectation of I'm gonna make sure you have a good time, you make sure I have a good time. And talk to him about it, and it took a little bit, but he came around.
Cool.
If it didn't, then yeah, I would have to do the same thing you did, give him a boo.
Yeah. Anybody else, Eric? Any experience with somebody not quite jiving with the group?
Yeah, you meet all sorts online.
Yeah, true. We don't have to name names,
Yes.
but just let's see the feeling or the experience of it all.
I've gone through entire campaigns with online groups where one individual in particular seemed good at the start. You go through a dozen sessions with them, realize they're really min-maxing metagaming and just throwing encounters to the wayside very easily, and taking away a lot of the fun from the other players. So the other players that came to me and say, hey, we're not enjoying playing with this person anymore. I said, look, we're almost at the end of the campaign. We've got 10 sessions left. We can tough it out till then. I'll talk to him at the end of that campaign. You guys are invited to the next one, but I'll not invite so-and-so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And fully agreed with them. You could kind of see it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's just if I can sense it, typically my players can sense it too, right? Anything?
Every campaign I've done, I've added new players, and so the first several sessions are always a little bit of everybody's trying to find how the group dynamics work. And I've had a couple players who have been like, all right, remember we're all here to have fun, because they had a 45-minute in-character argument about something completely unimportant.
Mm-hmm.
Who was going to carry magic items, or why they wanted this one and not that one. And it's like, bring it up, say it once, leave it, we're moving on.
Yeah.
Because I totally got why it happened, but it's like, it can't always happen like this. It has to, you have to leave room for everything else. So I haven't had problems since then. But yeah, it's really just been adding new players to an existing, to a mostly existing group, and being like, where the dynamics going to re-equalize to. I've added a couple players who are really into combat, and a couple players who are really into narrative storytelling, and I tend to lean to narrative storytelling.
Yeah, good man.
So I think that, it's just finding that new dynamic and trying to make it work.
Perfect. Yeah, any of that helpful?
Yep.
Absolutely. I think it all comes down to communication.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we're all here to, D&D's supposed to be fun, right? We're supposed to have a good time. And having a good time doesn't come easy, because we all have to schedule this stuff, right? And we're all in busy lives. You know, to be at Thursday night from 5 to 10 doesn't always work out. We have to make adjustments to make that happen. And then if there's somebody at the table who's not on page, you know, and then like the rest of us aren't having fun because of that one person, I think it's a responsibility, or maybe even sometime a leader at the table, you know, to come and say, hey, look at this is going on, you know, get on board. You know, I never want to say get out. You want to give that person that opportunity. But if they don't get on board, if they're not, you know, jiving, well, there's thousands of people who want to play.
Yep.
You know, and being in a good game is not easy. You know, like to find a solid DM isn't easy. You know, and so there's always more players. And if you can't be on board with this specific play style, you know, well then maybe this isn't the group for you.
And it's like you said, you can feel the energy. It's one thing if there's two players that kind of needle each other, but they're doing it in good fun and jest.
Yeah.
And when two players are legitimately at each other's throat.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just obviously not liking each other, you know. I know, like, part of the split in mine is, like, two players were just completely disagreeing, you know, like, no, we don't want to do that, that's stupid. And it wasn't like, you know, anything where it was super duper important, you know, no, let him do his little 5 minutes of fun. You know, there's stupid stuff you've wanted to do too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So, perfect. Your first DMU, what'd you think?
Good.
Is this, good stuff?
It's nice to chat with other people who also do the same thing. My wife plays in my game, so I just have to be careful how much I tell her about what's rattling around in my head, because otherwise I'll ruin everything.
Keely hears what I have to say about D&D all the time.
Yeah, and I don't play.
And there you have it, everybody. That was DMU. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. I had a really good time, and I hope you did too. There was a lot of really cool stuff we touched base on. Thank you once again, guys. Any last thoughts?
See you next month.
Yeah, see you next month.
Check out Caveman Gaming.
Check out Caveman Gaming. Awesome. This is DMU. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone.
Hey.
Anyone looking into any new systems right now?
I'm gonna try Draw Steel tomorrow.
Very cool. Yeah.
You got the digital, or?
I have all the digital stuff. I backed it, and I'm waiting for my print copies to
Nice.
come in the mail.
Yeah. If you want to talk about that next DMU,
Yeah, for
that'd be
sure.
a great topic.
No, I found a couple of third-party character sheet options that I really like, because they color code the action sequences. So it's like every turn you do a red, a blue, and a move, which is really nice.
Interesting.
It makes it a lot clearer for people to follow along with.
That's something I've been doing for my kids group, is a lot of them, the character sheets dense.
Yes.
And trying to find it so that some of these kids, some of them don't read as well as others. Some of them are on the spectrum. Some of them have ADHD. It's trying to find something that's concise, that shows everything. And I'm trying a couple of different options.
Well, that's
for
like
character sheets.
I was planning like one shots for our group, because every once in a while somebody can't make it. So well, then we'll do a one shot that's in the same world but adjacent to what you're doing, or like a backstory to something that already happened. It's like, how am I going to do this with like 13th level characters for these people who like, we're only sit down for 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
We don't play it a lot. Like, that's a lot. So I started giving everybody for anything over 5th level, it was you get your character sheet standard, and you have 5 like core actions that relate to your class. So whatever the class was, whatever the 5 most relevant things were going to be to that
Yeah, perfect. And
session.
And you can do this so many times or whatever.
Yeah.
I almost think we need character sheets like that at the cons, because like like what's like we could have like the more advanced character sheets for the vets, but for somebody who has no clue, they're looking at it and there's like sometimes there's 2 pages plus the spell lists, they're totally lost. So we always tried to push them towards, okay, play the monk, or play the barbarian.
Well, and again, developing a monetary fund would assist with it. We could buy the cards for spell cards and stuff like that.
True.
Which would be super helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a lot of the 5.5 stuff in like PDFs and Word doc form for the spell cards. It's just getting them printed off
Mhm.
In physical form.
Yeah.
Well, I was like I had some wizards and stuff too, so I was like, for most of my magic classes that were over 13th level, they had an attack, a defense, and a utility spell card that included 3 options. So
Cool.
it's like, okay, I know I'm
Yeah.
going to attack something, now I need to make one of 3 choices.
Yeah.
Which is essentially,
And a 2
fireball
hour and a 2 hour one shot, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, well, I can just curate from the druid's 13th level spell list, what are the 9 things that are going to
Yeah.
be most relevant
Yeah,
to what I know you're doing.
Very cool.
So
Okay.
that's been helpful.
Your system?
I've been playing Mothership.
Yeah, I've been watching.
I've been reading and planning to film a one-shot of a live play Mothership. I'm actually going to be filming it November 8th at my sister's craft store.
Cool.
I might need some players for it.
And November 8th,
Yeah.
I'll be done with Extra Life, so
I originally scheduled it for the 1st.
Oh, no.
I realized that's the
That was a
Extra Life
mistake.
weekend, and I was like, oh, gotta reschedule. But I'd love to run other systems. Like I'm down with Tales of the Valiant. I've got
Yeah.
that in my back pocket. I've been looking at Starfighter. It's a little more,
Beefy?
yeah, rules heavy, where I haven't quite got it down packed. I want to get through these other 2 systems first to sit down and really find people that also want to.
yeah,
Yeah. There's only so much you can learn from reading it. You
Yes.
have to
jump in.
play it.
Cosmere physical copies start coming out in October, so that's
Cool.
what I'm looking
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finding a little more of that.
Yeah.
And Daggerheart, I really enjoyed playing Daggerheart with Bruce. That's a system I could see myself running.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
really
it's
wanna do that.
very attuned to the way that you DM.
Yeah.